This is huge breaking news coming in. USA is now preparing to take control of the Strait of Hormuz using its navy, and this could change global power overnight. The US is closing the Strait of Hormuz and going to strike all tankers entering the strait. President Trump has just announced a naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, ordering the United States Navy to stop any and all ships entering or leaving the strait. Trump also warned that any vessel paying tolls to Iran could be intercepted, making it clear the US now wants to control access to this critical waterway. This is huge because China and India could be in serious trouble, because the Strait of Hormuz controls nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. China alone gets around 50% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz, and if the US fully shuts it down, this situation could take a completely new and dangerous turn. Countries like China and India rely heavily on this route for energy imports, and a full blockade could send global oil prices soaring and disrupt the entire world economy. And the main thing is Iran still sells oil through alternative routes, including back channels to China and supply routes via the Caspian Sea. Iran says it controls the strait, and now the US is saying it does. But in reality, control depends on who can dominate the waters militarily at any given moment. This is huge.
The fire rises, man. All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, those who rule well and who I learned this truth from. And salutation to the brothers stiffly pushing this one truth in all sincerity and diligence, risking your lives and freedoms to do so. And Shalom to the rest of the elect as we all await the second Exodus coming quickly by the hands of Lord Yahweh Shah. All right, this your brother, Rakaga Bar. And as you can see, all right, we know Trump went out Sunday and said that they're going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, all right, and pretty much intercept every ship going in and out. And you see playing through this video that China
In serious trouble.
gets 50% of their oil from Iran, man. In fact, let me rewind it, because this could lead to some very serious shit.
It could be in serious trouble because the Strait of Hormuz controls nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. China alone gets around 50% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz, and if the US fully shuts it down, this situation could take a completely new...
See, so it's just going to escalate everything that's already going on, man. And, you got some European countries that have been paying them tolls to Iran. So America, Trump is pretty much like, nah, fuck all that, man. Y'all ain't supposed to be paying them tolls. All right. Because, Trump went out and he asked for help. He asked for support. And all of those European countries was like, nah, man, this ain't our war. So this further shows you as well the divide between America and NATO. America and NATO is pretty much through, man, at this point. And this is just going to further escalate the tensions, all right, in that region. All right. And you got warnings coming out that the Bab el-Mandeb Strait could also, be closed or, taken over by the Houthis, all right, the Yemen Houthis, all right. And all of this is going to lead to more shortages, man. Okay, not just oil, but overall supply shortages, all right, following these blockades, man. Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to touch on. This article, it reads 10-day supply shortage warning issued ahead of Trump blockade. So, everybody's being focused on the oil, and the energy crisis that has been brought about by this war, but it's also going to have a trickling down effect, man. Okay, on everything else too, in which also, supply and demand, when supply is dwindled, they raise the prices even more. So this whole move is destroying the world economy, man. I mean, Trump will come out and say something and manipulate the markets, and this is all by design. These devils are resetting. Okay. But let me read a little bit. Say 10-day supply shortage warning issued ahead of Trump blockade. Global markets could begin running short of critical goods within a few days following a breakdown in peace negotiations between Iran and the U.S. and now the double-edged blockade on the vital Hormuz Strait. So, yeah, first you had Iran, taking control of it. You know, there are rumors going out, they laid mines and all that stuff, which, can't confirm on that. But, now you got the U.S. blockading it. All right. So that's why it's a double edged sword, man. All right. So that's going to vastly affect the movement of these goods, man. All right. Um, It say within a few days following a breakdown in peace negotiations between Iran and the U.S. And that's why scriptures say, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh, man. Because all those peace talks and negotiations they all fucking fail. The ceasefire, it all falls through. Every single time, man. It never works. All right, because the Lord is determined to, ultimately gather those nations. All right, in the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment, and allow them to fuck each other up. you know, just to put it blunt. All right, but they say this is according to political scientist and security scholar Robert Pape. On Sunday, warned that the supply chain impacts of the conflict could soon extend far beyond the current pressures on global energy costs. See, everyone is still talking about oil prices. That's already outdated. Pape posted to X on Sunday. This is no longer a price shock. It is the early stage of a system-wide supply shock. All right, and we know what scriptures say. Due to the lack of bread and great tribulation, people are going to start spoiling their neighbors' goods because of shortages, man. Shortages of food, shortages, it's going to be a domino effect. Okay. The truckers are, the diesel is too damn high. So they're going to stop running, and then that won't bring the supplies to the stores, from the factories to the stores. And then the shelves are going to run empty. Scriptures tell you that, man. Matter of fact, let's grab that. Let's grab this first. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so shortages. Okay, also too, 30% of fertilizer, or what goes into making the fertilizer, goes through that strait. So they've already been warning. You're gonna have famines. You're gonna have shortages, man. And according to prophecy, that's going to cause people to crash out. But they can't get it. They're going to have to go to somebody who's stocked up, who, got homesteads and all that shit. You thought you prepped it all up. Your shit's more than likely going to get taken from you, man. Somebody else going to loot your shit. All right. And then that's what it's going to be. We're coming into those times, man. All right. We're really already in them. But, we're coming into the times to where, 2 Ezra 15 and 16 is going to fully be jumping off this page. All right. But it say, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. A lack of it means it's a shortage of it. So this whole war, again, man, it's beautiful by the Lord, how he's moving these pieces, because, it's like one place, one puzzle out of place and it all goes crumbling, man. It's like Jenga when you pick the wrong piece and the whole tower fall down, man. Well, that's what's happening with the oil and the strait over there and what's going on. Okay. All right. Let's grab that. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. 2 Ezra 6 and 22 is saying, suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Yeah, man, that can go. That fertilizer can play a role into that. See, a third of it goes through there, man. All right, so farmers are already not getting as much, and they're already, not getting it. So you're gonna see the effects of this shit in the coming months, man. See that? It's saying, suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So the Lord, it's going to be suddenness. This warning is a 10-day supply shortage warning. See? Okay? You people don't realize how fragile this system is, man. One link in the chain is broke, thing is through. And that's what we witnessing here. So yeah, man. Um, the catalyst for this imminent supply shock, you see, imminent. So this thing is happening here, man. It say Pape said is the fact that the Strait of Hormuz, through which around a fifth of global oil moves, is now being constrained by Iran as well as the U.S. All right, it's like a siege, you know. Well, a siege is obviously when they surround the enemy territory or whatever and cut off supplies or resources from coming in, you know. But ultimately, that's what they kind of doing to the. It's like this is like a vital artery, and they're cutting it off. You know, it's like a vital artery to the world, and they just cutting it off, man. So this place is leaking, it's bleeding, But they say since the beginning of the conflict, Iran's military has restricted shipment through the corridor for countries supporting the U.S. while also imposing tolls on vessels that are seeking safe passage. And that's why Trump is like, well, anybody going in and out who's paying those tolls to Iran, which, is also some of America's allies, right? Trump is not with that. They're not with that, man. He's like, nah, intercept all that shit. And we got to see how, what occurs, if it's going to be some skirmishes and whatnot and all this good and all that stuff it's likely to happen, man. This shit is going to turn. This shit it's already turning. It's already bad, but, it's just going to keep getting worse. All right. This is going to keep getting worse, man. We watching this collapse, man. All right. But, yeah, Sunday, Trump said the U.S. Navy will begin a process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. See? So, yeah, man, I mean, but here's the point. Pape said this fertilizer restriction, or Salakia, this further restriction on shipping through the Hormuz Strait will not impact just oil, the base layer of modern production, but also limit the global availability of its downstream products like plastics, fertilizers, and other fuels, and resultant price spikes, he said, will translate into physical shortages and economic contraction as material inputs dwindle. Okay? He said factories don't slow because cost rises. They stop because materials don't arrive. So, yeah, supply shortages, and scriptures say, the song places are going to appear unsown, the storehouse is empty because you're going to deal with famine, man. Resources, scarcity, lack, right? That's what it is. All right, and this is going to be a big factor in that, man. All right, as this thing continues on, but can go ahead and close out and give all praise to Yahweh Bashim Shah, DTA Wa Baba Ball, Shalom.